Hello everyone, Golden Nova here, and today I shall be your commentator for this round of the Elestriad Season 3. We have two incredible casters coming at you, with BeanSoldier representing the Earth Divine Demeter, while Powdr is representing the Solar Divine Apollo. They're going to be slinging some incredible cards today, and if any of them pique your interest, make sure to check out shopelestrals.com to grab the latest core set, Daybreak, featuring a number of Elestrals that not only wield the power of Apollo's sun, but his gift for prophecy as well. Also make sure you don't miss out on the Shattered Stars subscription bundles. The Constellation series is starting now with Scorpio, and the packs feature a ton of incredible Thunder cards with dazzling foils, captivating full arts, and the next stage of the Stained Glass Alt Art series, bringing spirits into the mix for the first time. I cannot wait to jump into today's clash, but we can't get to the brawl without knowing anything about our players and their decks. Josh, what do you have for us?
What's up, my numbugs? It's your boy Josh from the Elestriad, aka BeanSoldier, and what can I say? The champ is back for Season 3. I'm so happy to be here. And going up against the brand new deck on the block, Solar, for round 1. I'm not super familiar with Powdr as a player, but all I can assume with Trishula on his side, he's going to have one of the best possible Solar brews you could possibly bring to this event. So I need to be on my A game no matter what. I've drafted Earth, my bread and butter, and I don't think that there's a better deck to play in this event. So it's got the most amount of tools, and we're going to make sure that we use them in this first clash. So, shocker, we're running all of the consistency tools that we kind of play in Earth. We're also playing the best Nexus Elestral in the game, especially with Lavalith being at 1. Equinx is an absolute house. If this sticks to the board, you can basically guarantee that the game is ended on the spot because they're not going to be able to defend themselves. We're also playing probably the most powerful 5 in the game, a 5 that summons another 5. We're also playing the Crab. Both of these cards too are phenomenal altar bait targets, especially Crab when he reputs himself to defense. If you have an altar to bait them into an attack, he just swings right over it. I will say I am expecting them to be on Cryoblast, so maybe this isn't the best lineup of Elestrals, but we'll just have to see. But Mudlet also immune to Cryoblast and able to deal with pretty much anything that Powdr could put up on the field. Mudlet is an absolute tank. Last Earth Elestral, we are playing 2 Rummagem to search out any of those power cards that we need. Also playing the, like I said, nearly limited Resting and Earthquake, as well as playing our 3 powerful copies of Ambrosia. Earth has been a very expensive deck for a while, and we need to make sure that we have all of the healing that we can get. Also choosing to play 2 Cryoblast to pair along with the Resting and Earthquake, mainly because it does out things like Exaltus. If he's bringing like a 5s strategy, this outs Lumaru, and even if he's on like the Foretell Solar list with the Leos, this also outs Leo as well. And when that thing gets up to 7 or 8 attack, it can be an issue, and we need more options to deal with it. Speaking of more options to deal with it, we are playing Demeter. This can pretty much guarantee that we can get over anything that he puts on the board. Viscerus and Demeter means that we can out Elestragon, unless he plays the Temple. So if he is playing Temple, we are going to be playing the 2 copies of Forest in the main, not only just as a Nexus bank, but to make sure that if he is playing 5s, making all of ours 6s is very important. Moving on to the Counter Rune Suite, we are playing only 2 copies of Tsunami. There have been builds of Solar in the past, especially since like Galaxy and Sorlet are both, I think it's like ethereal Elestrals. I can't remember what the little halo sign, whatever those Elestrals are, can be searched by Exaltus, and they play around Tsunami, so I don't want to max out on that too much, especially since Solar isn't a deck that attacks a whole lot. We're also playing 3 copies of Poison Tip, 3 copies of Gorgons, and 3 copies of Altar of Stars, probably the most powerful counter rune in the game, it being able to deal with even defensive Elestrals as well. A shocker, ton of Earth. I think we're playing 12 Earth, 5 Zaptor, 2 Leviathan, and the 1 Flare Mine for the Cryoblasts. For the side, we are playing the 1 Owloon and 2 Dense Fog. Dense Fog is typically very good against Solar, but it also depends on the build, so we want to make sure that we know what type of deck he's playing before we commit into Dense Fog. We are playing 3 Shield in case he is playing a 5s variant, 3 Boom Bat. If he's on the Celestlio version, we need as many possible ways to deal with a Celestlio as possible. And speaking of ways to deal with Celestlio, we are playing a Christ Boar. If you're unfamiliar with this card, I don't blame you. It doesn't see a whole lot of play, but you can expend 2 Earth Spirits in order to target an opponent's Celestial, suppress it, and destroy it. This is Earthquake on legs, and I love him. So we are playing it, and maybe it'll come up. We'll just have to see. For the rest of the side, we are playing the 2 Vertolith in case he tries to do some Chitara or Kathmel stall variant. Third copy of Forest in case he's maxing out on Temple. The third copy of Tsunami in case we need it. And then the one tech card that I hope comes up, we'll just have to see, is Scavengem. I want to see Earthquake as much as possible, and Scavengem can expend an Earth to not only just search Earthquake, but it can get us Equilinks, it can get us a Nexus Bank, it can get us whatever we need. It can even get us Equilinks and the Nexus Bank if we need to. So if we're able to stick the Scavengem, should just kind of win on the spot, and that 6 defense stat line is nothing to mess around with. So Powdr, I hope you're ready. I'm bringing the best Earth deck I possibly can.
BeanSoldier has leveraged the unique strengths of Earth to overcome today's competition. Equilinks continues to be a powerful presence in the game, especially after the limiting of Lavalith. Not only does its Nexus remove powerful counter runes before they can be used to retaliate, it enables receivers like Mudlet to make sure that every Elestral on the field is in the exact position that BeanSoldier needs to continue his elemental assault.
Well, well, well. Nice to see all of you again. It's me, Powdr TCG, the best booster machine, and I'm here to talk about my deck for my battle with BeanSoldier, who is arguably top 5, maybe even top 3. Some might even say top 2. Some might even say he's the best player in the game. And then there's me. Oh, I'm nervous. I am scared. I'm scared. I'm very scared. Okay, let's talk about our deck right here. Okay, so first and foremost, we're solar. We went solar with our stuff. I'm going with it. But this deck is very straightforward. A lot of, like, I know solar does like a lot of, there's like the foretell mechanic with Celestleo and things like that. But I kind of went with as straightforward of a deck that I could really get to. Guys, we got Lestragon. 2 Lestragons in here. I like Lestragon. It's simple. It's not hard to get out. And 7/6. Great stuff. Ability of you can Nexus up to 3. Once you Nexus, you can target and destroy a card. Great stuff. Genuinely great stuff. I think it's really, really good. We got Dratara in here. Another Nexus, Solar Nexus situation going on. It's great because you can, refresh your spirits. I will do my best to use Dratara in here. We got 3 Plucky. Plucky's solid. When you normal cast Plucky, you can search your deck for Divine Rune. Easy to get Apollo out into my hand. Corvishine. So we got Corvishine. This is the only foretell mechanic I have in here, really. And the reason is because it is a level of control. Being able to see the few things in my deck. 2/4, once again, not super squishy, but allows me to, use the foretell ability, have an idea of what's going on. Exaltus, simple stuff. Nexus 2, add an easy way to get Lestragon into my hand if I need to get Lestragon in my hand. And then, obviously, we got Apollos. Y'all know what Apollo does. It's not super hard to understand, but once again, this is also using a bit of that foretell mechanic. Temple of the Sun. Temple of the Sun is great because if I can pair it up with this bad boy, Lumaru, I can hit over a lot of things. And not only can I hit over a lot of things, but I can also send a bunch of cards thin Bean's deck out as much as possible. Hopefully get some runes from the top of his deck into his underworld without me having to worry about it. And then there's Lavalith, bro. Moving on to our runes, we got our, usual BTA. Ambrosia, obviously. Recycle mechanic, very good. Gorgon's Gaze, gotta make sure I could keep BeanSoldier under control. Cryoblast, we got our Tsunamis, we got our Laurels, and an EQ. But my idea of doing this is fairly simple. I just need to get Lestragon on the board and make sure I know my Nexus plays correctly. Am I confident in myself? Thanks for watching.
Powdr may not have a lot of confidence in his deck, but I sure do. Consistency is key after all, and with Apollo foretelling his solar Elestrals into his hand, and Exaltus grabbing ethereal Elestrals like Dratara and Lustragon, Powdr is poised to keep his spirit deck stocked up while annihilating his opponent's field. Okay, I've seen enough deck profiles. It's time to get to the action. Will Apollo foretell a positive outcome for Powdr, or will BeanSoldier and Demeter decimate the competition? Casters, it's time to clash. Alrighty, it's time for the battle between Demeter and Apollo to begin! Though it looks like we're not going to be casting with an Earth this time. We've got BeanSoldier leading with Elechick to get Demeter for a later turn. And what we're going to do here, we're going to set a rune and set another rune. And that's going to be it for them. So we're going to go over to Powdr. Powder's going to set a rune. Okay, and then we're going to cast something with Solar. We're going to get Corvishine. Now, Corvishine is an interesting Solar because it's not card advantage per se. It is an interesting receiver where we'll get my thoughts on Corvishine in a second. It's getting PTA'd, one of the best counter runes in the game out there. So we're not going to say Corvishine for very long, but what it does is you get to foretell and then essentially swap any card from that foretell with one in your hand. We foretold Plucky and Ambrosia. Ambrosia's a pretty nice pick, though Plucky does get us into Apollo, so it does let you swap one of those cards with one from your hand and put it back on top of your deck along with the other foretells. So you get to maybe set up some other foretell effects, maybe? We're going to move to the end of turn. We're going to pay out the PTA. The Corvishine is no more. And we'll go back to BeanSoldier's turn where they're summoning effectively the boss monster of the deck, Equilinx. The repeated rune removal. It sucks to only have the one facing the big green cat. It doesn't seem like it's being responded to the summon on it, so it's not a PTA. We'll use Equilinx's effect. We will Nexus from the Demeter, which had 3 put under it. Get rid of the Ambrosia. No, what are you... Oh, I understand the impulse. You want to be able to bluff your opponent into thinking you have some kind of response, but... God, you can't be doing that against Equilinx. It's so easy to get blown out there. We're going to take 3 Expend from the Elechic and the Equilinx, and then we have the Lavalith in response, but then the Gorgon's Gaze comes down, pulling double duty here. Of course, BeanSoldier is still down one of his runes, but now the Lavalith also can't attack, so they're not going to be able to get rid of either the Elechic or the Equilinx. Astrabbit's coming down here, our 3rd Elestral. We're going to go ahead and enchant that with a Thunder, and that means we're going to take a look at our top 3, one of the best effects in the game. Folks, this is why every deck has a little Thunder splash in it. Getting a free card off the top is pretty grand. We're going to go ahead and use Equilinx's effect. We are going to Nexus 1 onto Demeter to keep it topped up. And then we're going to activate its effect there to boost the Equilinx. That puts it at a 7-6. And unfortunately, Lavalith only has a 6 power. So we're going to hit over that with Equilinx and then deal 2 Expend with the Elechic and the Astrabbit. Not before setting a phase down, of course, because we don't have a phase after the battle to set any of our runes. We're going to go over to Powdr here. Powdr's going to think a bit. We're going to play another Ambrosia. Okay, so maybe he was thinking he had enough Ambrosias that he could set one to kind of bait out an Equilinx activation. I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 monkey. We're going to get 3 monkeys back. How long is it going to be until we get a solar deck that's just called Barrel of Monkeys? I hope that's in. Oh, that joke is being stopped in its tracks. It's earthquake time. How does it feel, Demeter, to have your own magic turned against you? Getting rid of the Equilinx is pretty big. And we're going to cast a Plucky. Maybe the Plucky was grabbed off of the Ambrosia, or maybe we already had one. Who can tell? Only Apollo can. We're going to use that to search said Divine. Now, where we're going to deploy it right now is the question. We don't have much to use it with. Oh, the Viscerus coming down on BeanSoldier's turn. That is huge. And Elestral that is small enough for Viscerus to hit over, plus a back row with no runes in it, is a recipe for success, at least if you are the Earth player. We're going to use Viscerus' effect, cast another one out of the deck. We're going to take, what is that, 3? No, it says 2 more damage. 1 from the Astrabbit, 1 from the Elechic. We're going over to Powdr's turn. We are going to cast that Apollo. Here we go. Now we're going to see it cast, or are we going to play another Elestral first? No, we are going to use the effect on it. We're going to disenchant one of the Luminapes. We're going to foretell 3. There is a Apollo, a Dratara, and a Tsunami on there, so there is a hit. We'll grab the Dratara. A fantastic Nexuser and Receiver. Or rather, a Nexuser. It doesn't do the healing when it receives, just when it Nexuses. So it makes for a great Nexuser. And we have the cards for it. We're going to activate the effect of Dratara. We're going to move one of the Apollo spirits over to the Dratara. We're going to heal for 2. Get a little bit in our tank to use for later. Looks like we might have grabbed the Floor Mine there for a second, but we got a correction on that one. Nothing else to follow up with, though, unfortunately. We're going to go over back to BeanSoldier's turn. We're going to enchant the Astrabbit again. This does two very important things. Not only are we getting another look at our top 3 to get whatever card we want, the more spirits an Elestral has, the more damage that it does, independent of its attack stats. So now it actually deals more damage and gets the game done, game finished even quicker. Viscerus is going to go over the Dratara, and then we're going to take a total of 4 damage, 2 from Astrabbit, 1 from the second Viscerus, and 1 from the Elechick. This is putting Powdr in a bit of a bind. We have a Spirit under Apollo to work with, and then just 3 left in our Spirit deck. We're going to set 1 rune face down, and we're going to cast an Exaltus. Now, this is another really cool Nexuser. Once again, not a receiver here, but it does search out ethereal Elestrals. It's interesting to see a type searcher and not a element searcher. But thankfully, the Ethereals have some really good options right now. Plucky is one of them, because that's more Divines, but I don't know if a Divine, especially Apollo, is going to help us much with only 2 spirits left. It looks like we're going to go to battle. We'll try to... We got a lot of big bodies here. I think it's supposed to get rid of the Astrabbit, but the Altar of Stars is here to make sure that the Astrabbit will stay. We're going to cast... We're going to put 1 from the Elechick. We're going to next from the Elechick to the Astrabbit. And not only does this change the Exaltus' position so it can't attack, that was a Nexus onto Astrabbit. It received a Spirit, so BeanSoldier is going to get another free card at the top of his deck. He's going to cast Equilinx. Oh, we had spent so much to get rid of it beforehand, but now we're just going to cast it again. Presumably, yep, we're going to Nexus from the Demeter onto the Equilinx, and we are going to go after that last rune. What is it? Tsunami! Oh my god! Oh my god, does he have another turn? Because if it's Tsunami, the whole board goes sideways, and then we can... Oh. But the positions for the other Elestrals hadn't actually... They hadn't changed yet this turn, so we hadn't gone to combat yet, so they get to go to attack, and they attack over, and they expend far over Powdr's amount, and we're going to go to game 2. Oh, no. Okay, game 2. Powdr's going first. He's setting a rune, and we're going to go ahead and enchant the Apollo. Okay, so we're getting our Nexus Bank set up right from the start. Are we going to do a Nexus first, or are we going to dig for some cards? It looks like we're doing some digging here. What are we seeing? What are we seeing here? 1, a 2, a 3, Gorgon's Gaze, Exaltus, and Apollo. So we have the Exaltus, and that searches basically all the rest of our solars. So that's probably one of the best hits you can get off of that. Especially because it can be cast, and we already have the Nexus Bank to work with it. So... cast that. Are we going to go for it? The answer has to be yes. The answer is yes. Okay, so we're going to move that Luminape onto the other one, and we're going to grab Lustragon. Now, that's the boss monster for the deck. If we can develop that one, BeanSoldier's board might be in a bit of a pickle. BeanSoldier's going to go for the Moss Station. That's going to be big enough to contest the Exaltus. We're going to set 1 rune. We're going to set 2 runes. We're going to set 3 runes, maybe? No. We're going to go for Gorgon's Gaze here. That is going to keep the Exaltus safe. Normally, you use Gorgon's Gaze as a way to negate effects, but it's also just a combat stopper as well. It's a bit expensive, but it has a great payoff if you're protecting something really important. And I would say the Exaltus is pretty important. Well... The problem with Gorgon's Gaze is that it doesn't answer the creature, but Cryoblast certainly does. With only 1 defense, the Cryoblast takes it to 0, and its secondary effect pops in, destroying that Elestral. We're going to set a rune here, and we're going to follow up here. Are we going to Nexus first? No, we are not Nexusing with the Exaltus. We're going to go for Lustragon. Here we go. That's the big one. We're going to go ahead and... use Lustragon's Nexus. We're going to move the last from Apollo onto the Lustragon. So now it has 4. We're going to try to destroy it. It's Tsunami. Okay. Now that's not terrible. Tsunami is devastating against 1 Spirit Elestrals because many of them don't have the defenses to withstand the attacks from other Elestrals. But with Lustragon's 6 defense, there's not much that you can just cast without the help of Demeter that you're going to have to worry about. Oh, it looks like we had to expend to draw there. We have 1 rune. We didn't even set any more runes. We just expended to draw. We're going back to Powdr's turn. We are going to spend. We're going for a 3 Spirit Apollo. It feels pretty good. Now we have another Nexus Bank that we can use for Lestragon to move stuff around. We're going to first take a look at the top 3 with Apollo. We got Lestragon, we have Poison Tipped Arrow, we have Tsunami. So we get the Lestragon at least. I believe we get to grab that because it grabs any solar Elestral. Now how do we develop it past this point? We're going to go Dratara, maybe? Doing that? Okay, so we have Dratara here. Let's see if we heal a bit. We'll take one from... Yeah, we'll take one from the Lestragon. We're going to put it under the Dratara. We're going to heal 2. That's pretty good. We've done a big spend. This is our second 3 Spirit Apollo, so off the bat, we've spent almost a third of Powdr Spirit deck without any battle damage having to occur. Are we going to use Dratara? Or are we going to use another Nexus to try and pop that other back row? It doesn't look like it. BeanSoldier's taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. 3 from the Lestragon, 2 from the Dratara, and that does it for his turn. Going back to BeanSoldier here, we've got the Equilinx here. There it is. That's the card. That's the one that will dismantle many a game plan. Do we have a response to the Equilinx summon? It does not appear that that's the case. So we're going to follow up with that Demeter. We're going to enchant it with 3 Taratluses. Now, the thing with Lestragon being in attack position is that even if you boost the Equilinx, it's only going to crash, so you will still have to trade. We'll see if we go with that, or if we have something else. Oh, well, first, it would behoove us to Nexus. We'll move 1 Spirit off the Demeter onto the Equilinx. We're going to hit the Resting on Your Laurels. Another Invoke being set as a bluff. I'm not big on it. We're going to take the Spirit that we Nexused off of Demeter. We're going to use it to cast Ambrosia. This does get us more spirits into our spirit deck specifically. I suppose that's the pro move. Now, personally, I would have loved to keep it on there to deal more spirit damage, but that's just me. We're going to go to combat, it looks like, and we're not going to boost the Demeter. We're just going to have Equilinx get over the Dratara to get rid of 1 more Nexuser. Presumably, this means that the rune that BeanSoldier has contests the Lestragon. We're going to go with Apollo here. We're going to... we're going to use the Nexus on Lestragon. We're going to go ahead and try to pop a card. Let's see if Beans got it. What's going on? It's Gorgon's Gaze. That's it. That's the one. It stops the pop effect, and it keeps the Lestragon from attacking, so it keeps the Equilinx safe for another turn. Unless we have another Spirit that we're going to cast. We're going to look for one. We're going to spend the last Spirit off of Apollo. We're going to take a look at the top 3. We're going to foretell Tsunami, Poison Tipped Arrow, Ambrosia, not another Solar Elestral. That is unfortunate. That is the worst thing to see when you spend those spirits and get absolutely nothing out of it. It's like you're giving your opponent free damage. We're back over on BeanSoldier's turn. We're going to see another Nexus, it looks like. We're going to go from, yes, 1 from Demeter back onto the Equilinx. We're going to go after the back row. We're lifting it up. Is it because it's going to be chained, perhaps? No, PTA. Unfortunately, nothing has been cast here, so PTA does not have a valid activation window, so that is not going to be around to contest another Elestral. Mudlets here. You know what? I'm starting to see a bit of math going on here. Mudlet is being cast, receives an Earth. This will let BeanSoldier change the position of an Elestral. Elestragon's going to defense, and then we will spend off of the Demeter, disenchanting it to boost Equilinx into a 7/6, and hey, that's just 1 more than Lestragon's 6 defense. Goodbye, Shiny Dragon. We'll take 1 from the Mudlet. Oh, and things are not looking good for Powdr. After a really, really cool summon, it appears the power of Demeter, the strength of the Earth, is coming through. Oh, and we do not have a response in hand. We're going to expend to draw. We're going to set a couple more runes in the phase of Equilinx. It doesn't feel good, but you have 3. Equilinx can only get rid of 1 of those. We'll go ahead, and it looks like we're going to activate the effect here. We're going to move from Mudlet. I'm not sure if Mudlet's going to want to use its effect on anything. But a Nexus did occur, so we're going to destroy Another poison-tipped arrow. Golly. It's devastating. Okay. Okay. So that thing I said about only being able to deal with one back row does not apply when you have the second Equilinx, who has its own activation. We'll Nexus from the Mudlet onto the old Equilinx. We'll get rid of a Tsunami here. It doesn't look like we're going to get the activation here like last game, so we're going to take a total of 4 spirits. No! Okay, so we have 1 rune left, and what are we going to cast here? What does Powdr have that gets past this board? There's no back row on BeanSoldier side. He's revealing a set of another Apollo, another rune being used. Oh, you know what? I think this is just game. We don't have anything that we could, even if we could enchant it, we'd only have 3 spirits left. Yeah, and BeanSoldier showing the rest of his cards in hand. So this game is basically locked up. Another Equilinx was on standby. Oh my god, okay. What a game. Holy cow. And there we go. That's BeanSoldier showing everyone why he's one of the best. Now, Powdr put up a great fight here. Landing Lestragon was really cool, and seeing it take out some cards was one of the reasons why I love this game. But it just goes to show that in Elestrals, if you put your foot on the gas a bit too hard, a bit too soon, you leave yourself open to being punished by a few cats and a little mud pig thing. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Let us know what you thought of the Clash down below. Let us know what future Clashes you would like to see, and make sure you hit that shopelestrals.com link so you can get your hands on Daybreak, Shattered Stars, and the most important thing out of the entire shop, the plushies. You gotta get the cute plushies. Thank you all so much for watching. Keep your eyes on the channel for more, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.